Welcome to Shawnee Grows, where I encourage you all to learn as you grow. Join us for a deep dive into square foot gardening, the highly efficient and space-saving gardening method perfect for small spaces, urban gardens, or beginners. Team Replay, I want to hear from you. Have you tried square foot gardening? How did it go? What's your favorite space-saving gardening tip? So for this live stream, thank you all for joining us, by the way. We are postponed half an hour. Appreciate all your patience. We're diving into the world of square foot gardening, the ultimate space saving technique that makes gardening easier, faster, and more efficient. Of course, stick around until the end because I've got a special bonus for you. If you're serious about maximizing your garden space, you won't want to miss the handy resource I have. So let me know in the chat here, what have you grown in the square foot gardening method? I'm going to see who's in the chat, and I want to remind you all to don't forget to set your leprechaun traps tonight and count your gold. So let's see who's here. Jay Dixon, hello. South Florida Sunshine says, yo, it's the Square Foot Gardening Show tonight with Shawnee Grows. All right, hit the like, then flip top chat to all or live chat to keep things tight. Peace and love. Adam, hey, hi all from Southern Oregon here. I'll try and watch as much as I can tonight. Darn work and 3 a.m. wake up. Yeah, that's early. My husband also gets up super early. Adam says, hi Jay, didn't we just see each other? South Florida Sunshine says, I hear you, Adam. Always a replay for what you miss. I will sometimes come in late and pop her up on my TV or phone and watch till I see myself pop into the chat and then leave hashtag replay. That way, Shawnee gets her hours towards reaching monetization. Richard, welcome. Good morning. Good to see you here. Carol says I'm on my phone, but Shawnee Grows also has podcasts to listen to while driving or working too. Yes. And you can get those podcasts on our YouTube channel, actually, under the podcast tab. South Florida Sunshine, herbs, but medicinals. Yeah, I mean, if they would have let me put more than 4 options, we could have had all kinds of things in there, right? Miss Sharon, welcome. Welcome to the Sunday edition of Shawnee Grows. Storms, Radios, and Cats. Hey, real gardeners. Let me know if you want to see what's in the bag. Hello, it's good to see you. We're talking about square foot gardening in all of its glory. Carol says, hey there, Miss Sharon. How did you make it out with the storms? You too, Storms, Radios, and Cats. How about you? Yeah, go ahead and give your storm report. We all need to check in with each other once in a while, right? To know we're all okay. Storms, Radios, and Cats says it's soggy here and the flippin' rain finally stopped. It did. And now it's chilly. It's probably in the 20s right now. It's not telling me where it normally tells me. Carol says we need rain. Send it down, Barry. Adam says to South Florida Sunshine, 10:30 your time. I'm sawing logs by the time that comes rolling around here. Miss Sharon says to Carol, wasn't as bad as expected. Not much sleep, though. Wind and lightning. Oh, the lightning. Yeah. Yes, we had a lot of that, which is bizarre for March. Storms, Radios, and Cats, we don't have any more to send you. Miss Sharon says it's 58 degrees Fahrenheit here right now. I know that our forecast is saying, I believe it's tomorrow is 68 or 66 Fahrenheit. And then warm Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I could get 3 to 5 inches of snow. And that's exciting. Old Man King Homestead, welcome to our square foot gardening conversation. We're just getting started here. Jay Dixon, my foot is foot shaped. Can I still join? Innocent look. That's good. 41 Fahrenheit now for Storms, Radios, and Cats. Yeah, I'm sure it's below freezing. At least it was yesterday. Everyone's welcoming. Old Man King Homesteadin. Carol, I am up at 7, but I did similar hours when teaching and commuting, so I truly understand. To Adam, but I am still tired. DCBs, welcome. 3 weeks of cool and net weather. Guessing that's wet. Let the typos commence. Dave Knight, set your leprechaun traps tonight. Good to see you. Join us for the conversation. Fill out the poll. Catch up with everybody on your weather and gardening. I know I was able to start some peppers inside. So I feel like I'm on track again, right? So what is square foot gardening? Do you all know? What is it? Can you hear me now? It says there's no sound. Did my sound come back when I switched the scene? Okay, the sound came back. Okay, we're gonna have to do this a different way. So if you haven't been on StreamYard lately, they changed the scenes, and I thought I had the scene set up where my sound came through. So I'm guessing you didn't hear all of what I said? It stopped when you did scenes. Okay, that's what I figured. So if I do this presenting differently here, I'll do it the old way, because then I shouldn't lose audio. So here's the old way of doing things. I'm going to go and see. Testing sound. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. You can read, not hear. That was before. How about now? I've changed the layout here. And then, so, okay. Thank you guys. All right. So what is square foot gardening? It is a simple and efficient method of growing food in a small organized space using a raised bed divided into 1-foot sections. Now, I am going to say it doesn't have to be in a raised bed. It can be in an in-ground shaped bed, right? Yeah. And you get to see my face here. I didn't show we'll go back here into the chat. So yes, here's where like sound. Jay Dixon, I do sloppy square foot intensive gardening. No audio from Miss Sharon. Jay Dixon, no sound now. South Florida Sunshine, I have one of those square foot plastic squares to set it up without strings. Well, have it floating around in my house. And now we are back with the sounds. And that was you. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I messed up the setting apparently. South Florida Sunshine, probably glitchy with the new scenes feature. We can hear you the old way. Yeah, clearly I lost the. Richard, I have square containers used for salt licks for farm animals. Also have 20-liter cooking oil buckets, tomatoes, chilies, cucumber, garlic, and squash. Carol. Sweet young face brings the clicks. Okay. So it was created. See, I totally was not saying the name right that whole time, and you missed my whole mumble jumble of that. So let's see if I can do it good this time. Created by Mel Bartholomew in the 1980s. How'd that sound? With the square foot gardening method, you plant in a 4x4 foot block instead of traditional rows. And what I was saying before was it doesn't have to be 4x4, right? Like it's however many feet by however many feet that you can handle. Is that 10x3, 8x2, 8x4, 4x4, Different crops are planted in different blocks according to their size. And we're going to go over this in depth. But for one example, 16 radish in 1 square foot, or just 1 cabbage in 1 square foot, right? So, why is square foot gardening amazing, you ask? Well, it can save space. You're just like Jay Dixon said, the intensive gardening, you're growing more food in less space, perfect for small yards, patios, or balconies. It requires less maintenance, fewer weeds, less watering, and no heavy digging. Higher yields maximizes productivity by planting strategically within each square. And I feel like it is beginner friendly. It's not complicated planning. You're just following a simple grid system. Now, when you're talking about the location of your little space that you're going to do this square foot gardening in, it's ideal to have relatively flat ground and get at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun daily. Now, depending on your crops list, that could change, and your zone and where you are on the planet. Maybe you don't need intense heat 8 hours of the day, right? Maybe you do need some shade. Now, they're also saying avoid low areas that may turn into puddles after a hard rain. We are going to do a tools list. Jay Dixon, old lady voice. I was gardening in the 1980s when square foot was new and innovative. Remember to hit that like, says Miss Sharon. South Florida Sunshine. Great way to know how the seeds perform in that setup, too. Adam says, I have a funny story about leprechauns and me in Vegas on St. Patrick's Day a long time ago. I hope you actually tell us. Colonel Chris Wyatt. Shawnee Grows cinder blocks. Interesting. That's right. Now, a lot of people say cinder blocks are a bad idea because maybe there's toxins in them. And some people say they're a fantastic idea because I have a bunch laying around and you can plant inside of them. So, dealer's choice at that point. Good to see you. Serena Norell has joined us. Hello. DCBs, what is square foot? It's a square foot, right? What is new about a measurement? It's talking about having specific amounts of seeds jammed into 1 square foot in a space, right? So here's another example of that cinder block layout. They did a companion planting of marigolds in the outside border. And then they have a tennis ball on top of a T-post. You've ever seen that before? That's interesting. So we're going to get into the actual specifics of how do you know what goes in each square foot, right? Cinder blocks would heat up in the sun well to release the heat at night if you're growing in a cold area. That's for sure. So for our tools and materials list, we are going to get into looking at how to build a bed later on. But to overall speak about it, the wood, you can have cedar or untreated lumber, long lasting and safe usually is these choices, right? Sometimes you just have to use what you have on hand. There's metal options, durable, but it does heat up in the summer. We've seen a lot of those metal raised beds around lately. Your fabric grow bags or a burlap bag. I've seen people use like an old feed bag with holes in the bottom. They are great for portability if you're on a new space and you don't know your sun lines and your shade lines, right? You can always repurpose a container. Richard talked about that for a budget-friendly option. So in the ground, you can also do this as well. Like I said, it doesn't have to be in a raised bed when you're planning out your spaces. It's just not doing row gardening. So the grid system, and here's an example on the screen, they laid it out with string, is how you measure out how you understand where your square feet are. And then in each square foot, you get to choose what you want to plant. So some people use wooden slats or string, pre-made square foot gardening grids, chalk lines for temporary setups. You can just grab a stick and lay out the grid. You don't even have to do the full grid. You can just do one square at a time, right? And just move it with you as you plant. So some of your must-have gardening tools, a hand trowel is very handy for planting and digging the holes. Usually you're doing a mix of direct sowing and transplanting. A hand rake for smoothing the soil and clearing the debris. Your scissors or pruners as you're growing and getting rid of weeds and harvesting and trimming things, of course. A watering can is pretty essential, or a hose with a gentle spray nozzle to avoid disturbing the soil. And, I don't label a whole bunch of stuff once it comes outside. It's just a big game of, do I remember what this plant looks like? You really learn how to identify things fast. But when you're talking about different, like peppers or maybe tomato varieties that you actually want to keep track of, figure out a good labeling system for you, whatever that looks like. Maybe you guys have some good ideas. You can share them in the chat, because sometimes you should keep track of what you've got going on in certain spaces, right? Oh, I just saw the T-post tennis ball comment, and when it jumped on me. Let's see here. DCBs. Oh, I like those cinder blocks set up. The strawberries would work good in small squares. They'd have the runners come up, and then the runners would plant wherever, unless you wanted to take the little babies and put them somewhere else, for sure. Storms, radios, and cats. The tennis balls are to keep your clothing from getting caught on the top of the posts. See, I imagined it was worse than that. It was worse than clothing getting caught. It was like skin or something, right? Jay Dixon, T-post tennis balls so you do not poke an eye out. There we go. Getting serious. South Florida Sunshine, DCBs. It's a great way to garden if you have a bit of OCD-ish tendencies too. Yeah, to really map it out. Carol says, no ma'am. And hey there, cousin Serena Norell. Jay Dixon says, South Florida Sunshine. Or go sloppy square foot if you're lazy and not OCD like me. Storms, radios, and cats. I can't do square foot gardening. I like row gardening because you aren't stretching across other plants to get to the growth in the middle. All right. There are cons to square foot gardening that we're going to cover as we go here. Carol says, right, Jay Dixon, we can call ours Tetris gardening. DCB says, laugh out loud. Yeah, Carol, that's probably why I like it. Carol says, the colored tennis balls attracts pollinators too? No way. I mean, I hope you have some pollen for them then, right? Adam says, imagine a drunk soldier seeing a little person on leave from deployment, St. Patrick's Day, 2009. All I knew was he had my pot of gold and I was getting it. Adam continues to say, my wife and brother had to drag me to the ground to stop me from getting my gold. If anyone has any more lovely St. Patrick's Day stories, I would love to actually hear them. I'm looking at my notes to see if there is something I'm supposed to be sharing, and it doesn't look like it. Continuing on, one of the key benefits of square foot gardening is knowing exactly how many plants can fit into each square. And so in this process, you get to choose your companion plants to help improve growth, deter pests, boost yields. There's all kinds of things. But there are crops that do not work. And I like having you look at stuff while I talk. So let's throw this up here. The crops that don't work well are those larger plants, your squash, your melons, main crop of potatoes. Can you imagine digging up potatoes out of a square foot garden bed that's companion plant intensively with a bunch of other stuff? That's not going to go well. Your perennials like the globe artichoke or rhubarb are not ideal for square foot gardening. Fruit bushes, trees, corn, watermelon, pumpkins aren't going to succeed in this setup, okay? I do not do that. So what crops work well? We're going to pull up a plant list and we're going to talk about spacing and techniques to set up a bed. All right. So while I'm pulling up my list, chat amongst yourselves, because I actually don't have that loaded because of the day I've had. This one I need. And this one I need. So crops that work well. Let's see if I can find this on my share screen. From A to Z, there's a ton of them actually that work well. So if you can see the way this is laid out, I feel like I have to sneeze. Oh, plant name. We have amaranth, arugula, Asian greens, asparagus, and A. Now, I'm not sure I would use asparagus in a square foot bed. That's an annual bed. You could set up a square foot bed, perennial bed. But the spacing per square is the number of seeds you put in that square. So arugula is 9, Asian greens is 4, bush beans 4 to 9, pole beans only 2, beets 9. Going to see, we have cabbage would be just 1, but carrots, you can put 16 carrot seeds in 1 square foot. So it goes through the alphabet. Like scallions, 36 per square, sorrel 2. Anything that vines out, you kind of don't want to do. It's going to get in the way of everything else. So this might be intimidating, this whole list of those crops. You kind of need to pick and choose, and maybe we want to see an example of how it would look, right? I'm coming back to the chat for a minute here. DCBs, I would think you could use square foot gardening and row gardening in the Say garden. Use what is best for each type of plant. Yes, don't forget, wear something green tomorrow, set your leprechaun traps, count your gold. Self-Florida Sunshine says to Adam, I was going to say, I hope you did not toss him to shake the gold out of him. Carol says, right, avoid orange or you'll get pinched or tripped. Jay Dixon, I dress up my concrete yard geese in various costumes? What? They are currently in St. Patrick's Day outfits? No idea how I can share for proof. That's amazing. You're a fun neighbor. Carol says, oh, I love those geese and ducks with little outfits. Jay says to Adam, so you tried to assault a small person and rob them? DCBs, I would think you could use square foot gardening and row gardening in the same garden. Use what is best for each type of plant. I agree. Yes, typos are okay. We'll figure it out. Pinched, not pitched. Pitched would be dangerous. DCBs, I would think that a lot of your herbs would work better in square foot gardening than row, that kind of thing. I hear you. Yep. Somebody earlier was talking about like a medicinal herb patch, really packing those into a square foot garden style. Jay Dixon says to Carol, I managed to find a treasure load of toddler baby dog costumes and have far more than makes good sense. My geese have a fan club in my village. DCBs, I would not want to zucchini in square foot. Yeah, that when it bushes out, it covers everything unless you have it like trellised skinny and up and out or something. Adam says to Carol, that was my intention at the moment. Jay, I feel so horrible about it now, but I still laugh about it. I bet that guy hasn't been to Vegas since. Carol says, I'm hoping I can make corned beef and cabbage in my Instapot, then air out the house before hubby gets home. Miss J.K. Gardner, hi, good to see you. We're talking about square foot gardening over here and leprechauns and gold. Storms, Radios, and Cats says to Carol, good luck with that. DCB's poor geese. Carol says, yes, I would love that idea with medicinals, right? Yes, welcome in, Miss J.K. Gardner. Good to see you. Okay. When we're looking at how to do this, I have a little example here that I'm going to try to show you all. So what this is a salad garden. So the plant list here is a bush cherry tomato, bush cucumber, leaf lettuce, mesclun mix, bell peppers, radish, beets, bush snap peas, carrots, bunching onions, parsley, basil, and arugula. And so this is like an animated potential how this would lay out, but this isn't specifics as far as um, how many go in each square. This is just the visual of on the north end is the taller stuff, the tomatoes, and things that need support are more in the center, and then the smaller things that might be ready to harvest sooner are on the outside, or maybe this I was going to say computer cucumber can vine out over the edge of the bed if this was a 4x4 raised bed. So then moving along, we have the numbers. So it matches the layout we just saw, the 16 carrots in 1 square foot, one of the bush tomatoes, that would be a transplant, carrots would be direct sowed. Then the beets, peas, parsley, basil, pepper, onion, bush cucumber, those are going to vine out over the edge and hang. The lettuce, the arugula, and the radish. And I feel like you could even fit little flowers here and there in this, right? So that's an example of how to lay out a bed. Hopefully that makes sense. And we saw visuals in the photos we had up, of course. There is maintenance, like all gardens. You're watering, you're weeding, you're capturing and destroying pests. Now, when you're intensely gardening, it helps keep a shade on the surface of the soil if you don't have as much mulch to prevent evaporation. But you are having many things in one space compete, essentially. So keeping up with any kind of foliar feeding you're doing or you're watering, there's always that balance of don't overwater, don't underwater, know your soil and your plant's needs. Now, there are cons with this, and we were speaking about that a little bit earlier. And then the row gardening versus square foot gardening, whole point here. So the points we want to make here, row gardening sometimes makes you think that it requires a bigger space. You're planting everything at one time and you're harvesting everything at one time. Probably more potential for weeds pressure. There's more bare soil. On the square foot gardening side, it's usually managed by hand, no machinery, easy access, ideal for a lot more different types of spaces. You're getting that increased, yield potential out of the space. So your bonus for tonight is you can get your own square foot gardening guide and the salad garden layout over at shawneegrows.com. They are listed in there. So we have we read about the squash, melons, potatoes, globe artichoke, rhubarb fruit bushes not being good in square foot gardening. I'm just looking at the cons list to see if there was anything else listed in there. Here is an example of a nice bed that was built, and in the description below there is a link to the materials list on how to build that bed and how they set it up. And they used the string method to measure it all out. Well, you also have to think about succession crops. So let's say you took your radish out and they were in this corner, easy access, 30 days and they're out. You can either plant another round of radish, a round of carrots, a round of lettuce. Like you can keep planting. I just realized they only have 4 of these right here. That's nice. So here is, share this tab instead. One of the links in the description about building the space, the tools used. It has, I think it has the measurements here. Let me see. It's talking about putting the support and bracing in and then working the ground to level it out. Filling it with soil, compost on the top. This one actually has those dividers in it, which I don't like. I don't like when it stays in there. Of course, you can do this with a pizza garden. That's what they're talking about here. Oh, I know what I was going to share. This is what Carol was talking about. So there's also this tool. So you would go in your square and you would figure out what you're planting. And I'm assuming the thing comes with instructions. It's talking about the color-coded holes correspond to a chart on a card that is included with the seeding square. There is a link in the description to purchase your own seeding square if you think you want to try it. They talk about how good it is with kids and stuff. I think it's annoying because I don't like being told what to do, if that makes sense to you all. But maybe you're like, wow, I really like how this is laid out and it keeps me organized, you know, where I'm like, well, I want to look at my square with my sticks that I found over here, and I eyeballed it and I went, okay, 16 is, 4, 4, 4 or whatever. I don't like the green square bossy pants thing, but for some people, they might love it, right? I see Zardoz Chaz made it in. Hey, good to see you. Something's weird to your brain, DCBs. I'm trying to catch where we were left off here. T-shirt bundles. Carol says to Adam, that was totally weird thing in bars during the 90s, I think, but again, a Velcro wall. Ugh, Velcro walls. What? Jay Dixon says to Serena, you will only need a piece of old fabric to tie up the vines vertically. GCB says, it seems disordered to me. I could never do that. Carol says, you mean making it like a patchwork instead of rows, DCBs? I mean, a lot of people do the chaos gardening. Have you heard of that? Where you're like broadcasting just out whatever survives, makes it. It's like just doing this with seeds, right? Jay Dixon is talking to Serena. The fabric goes really far, cut about 1 inch wide by 4, 6, or 8 inch pieces. You will get like dozens from one old t-shirt. No need to buy. Serena says to Jay, I thought I needed the t-shirts to hold the 25-pound squash. DCBs, did you see how much she lit up when she talked about pests? Carol, or your antifungals and organic pest preventatives. DCBs, I have a friend that gardens this way. He lives in town and uses his backyard. It kind of makes me think, well, would this be more HOA friendly? A square foot garden that's like prim and proper, and I don't know. I don't have any experience with HOAs, so I wouldn't know. Carol says to Serena, pantyhose and net bags too, DCBs. He doesn't have room like it to do, so he does that max density gardening. He grows a lot of food. Yeah, and then having a plan for what goes in that place when it's empty, never having a bare spot. Adam says to Carol, I fit into that stereotype. There again is our wonderful Miss Sharon talking about the ShawneeGrows.com, where you can find what I showed on the screen tonight, the planting guide for A to Z, the salad garden layout example. There's more than what I showed in the package. All of the pictures that I showed tonight are in the description. The link to that square green planting bossy thing. And then I also have some videos, I'm pretty sure. Let's pull them up. I gotta wait till the ad goes away and then I'll show you. So if you're a visual person and you want to see people talk about their square foot gardening, maybe they're in a zone, your zone. So then seeing what crops they actually did. Oh, wow. At the very end, I clicked the wrong button. Give me a minute here. Okay. So this is one of the links in the description. It is GrowVeg, square foot gardening, grow more in less space. There was another video link I had. And then there's a link to a book, if I'm not mistaken. And then the tool is the last thing listed. Square foot gardening, easiest way to grow more food in less space. This one's by Epic Gardening. So he's got a raised bed, looks like. Mixing the soil, building a trellis and the grid. He's got plant labels. Who is a labeler and who wings it? I'm just checking the description to make sure I showed what I wanted to talk about. The all-new Square Foot Gardening 3rd edition fully updated book is in there. The tool, the website to get the free Square Foot Garden Planner, and then you can also download, if you want, the salad garden layout. Let's see here. Jay Dixon, the only part of Square Foot that loses me is their insistence on Mel's Mix. Every single article I read has that in it, Jay. What is that about? The Mel's Mix. I don't get it either. I use the other good soil mixes in my sloppy square intensive beds. I use the Square Foot gardening method in an in-ground bed with my native soil. I think about Square Foot gardening in that. You know, it's a 3-foot wide long row. I don't remember how long they are because it's an offsite garden and I don't have it memorized at this point. But then I think about in that each square foot, what can I get in there? Because that helps me plan around the main crop, those companion plants of things, right? Serena Norell, I have some hose stockings in the greenhouse. I use them for making compost tea with biochar. Another great thing to use is the paint straining bags. I think it's what you call them. Saltwater Sunshine t-shirts can work, but might hold more moisture and rot it. DCB says it's just a grid layout for your plants, right? Right. A square foot by square foot grid. And in 1 foot, you decide what you want to plant, what's the name of the plant, and then there's a specific amount of seeds you're supposed to put in that square foot. And then you move to the next one and go, okay, you can grow that same crop in this one, or you can grow a new crop. Like the variety can change every square foot, or it can stay the same in each square foot versus a row, monocropping row. This is more like a plant diversity thing opportunity. Serena has one of those. It must be the green thing. DCBs appear to be missing something. Zardoz, the way I maximize my growing space is plant on a mountain near me on a crown land. Oh, I like that. They planted a salad? Jay Dixon, DCBs, yeah, plus a guide on planting and an insistence on special soil mix. I know, everything I read had that in it too, and I don't push that at all. Carol says, yes, that's what I was talking about. Again, someone who loves structure to the max. Storms, radios, and cats. Dark Pile looks so cozy asleep on the bed, and I am over here resisting the temptation to cuddle the cat because I will end up asleep. I hear you, Storms, radios, and cat, says Carol. DCBs, I'm all for being efficient with a grid, but I don't understand the plant choices. The crops list that it works for versus what it doesn't work for is the first thing you think about, and then you choose what you want to eat. And if you're really confused as a beginner, that's where we said plant a salad garden. You're planting all the plants that you would need to build a wonderful salad. Build a salsa garden. Build a pizza garden. Some people already know, I just want to grow tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. Well, then they might not really benefit from a square foot garden raised bed situation unless they're planting the bush varieties, smaller things that don't get ginormous, where you have to think about how much you need, right, DCBs? So if you're looking to like can all of your tomato products for a family of 5, I'm going to row gardening for tomatoes and I'm trellising them up in a long distance versus cramming as much as possible into each square foot. Gandalf, welcome to our square foot gardening conversation. Don't forget to set your leprechaun traps and your gold. Keep an eye on your gold. Jay Dixon, I do some chaos gardening. Gandalf says, hi, folks in chat. Carol says, oh, I am abstract, random. Chaos fits me. Storms, I've been so tired lately, Carol. Not sleeping well lately. Carol says, I like that idea for t-shirts for ties. Excellent. We are wondering how Gandalf is doing. Did you have some weather, Gandalf? Jay Dixon, depends on the HOA. It helped gain HPA respect in my community garden. Really? Carol says HOAs usually will not allow front yard gardens. You have to make it look like landscape. But if you have no fence in the back, yes, order is good. Jay Dixon, depends on the HOA. It helped gain HOA obsessive folks respect in my community gardens. Serena says DCBs, the different colors represent a certain kind of plant that can be planted using the spacing system for that color. Oh, on the grid thing. The book tells you what to plant and what spacing is needed. I don't use the grid thing. Yeah. The green thing where the seeds go in the square foot is the point of that for seed spacing. Carol says exactly, Jay, depends on the board's management bylaws. Yeah, like the Garden Party podcast, the Texas garden guy, I'm pretty sure he said he lives in an HOA and his whole backyard is fenced and he gardens there. And he's talking about, I think, putting raised bed gardens in the front yard and seeing what the HOA is going to say. And like you guys said, it depends. GT Junior grows in Alaska. Shawnee grows, hello, preparing dinner. So hello to all in the chat. Have fun preparing dinner. Share with us what you're making. DCBs, I wing it. Nothing wrong with that. You grow every day in every way. That's what I care about. Jay Dixon to Carol, or complaining neighbors who need a hobby or more happiness in their lives. It is good to see GT. That is right. Adam says, that's Kevin. My wife has a crush on him. Epic Gardening and Epic Homesteading, I think, are the two names of the channels. Carol says to GT, you missed. I dropped some bars for the intro for Shawnee. Yeah, I catch it on the replay. Carol says, yeah, or their medication, to Jay Dixon. DCB, Shawnee's Mel Mix is just another person that thinks they reinvented the wheel. Nothing new under the sun. For real. For real. Yes. Carol says to Gandalf, cousins go back to the days of Noah. Oh, okay, says Gandalf. Jay Dixon is listing what Mel's Mix is. It is 1/3 vermiculite, 1/3 peat moss, 1/3 blended compost to fill in the whole bed instead of soil in a raised bed. Yeah, it's a soilless medium. It's a suggestion that's always given for filling a raised bed that you don't have to follow. Newfound Drone Productions. Welcome to our conversation about square foot gardening. Do you square foot garden? We've talked a lot about the crops that it does not work with. You could not do this method with everything that you want to grow, who it would benefit. We do have a poll going. Don't forget to vote. Which crop would you be most excited to grow in a square foot garden? Leafy greens, root vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, or the herbs category? You place your vote. For those here live, for you in the replay, you can just type your answer and tell me about your experience or questions you have with square foot gardening. There are informational articles and pictures and videos and books in the description below. Adam says to Carol, Kevin is a very attractive guy. Everybody is saying nice things. DCBs, it's okay, Shawnee. I think I understand the concept of using the grid pattern. It's the plant a salad or plant a pizza that's confusing me. Yeah, it's like people that need structure for a theme on what to grow, like a crops list. Like if they can't decide what to put in the garden, right? And then I don't have my whiteboard here. Oh, I do have my whiteboard here, but I don't have my marker. Well, I was gonna hold it up. I don't know if you guys want me to go grab it. Hold it up and in the square foot act like I'm planting something and like draw the dots for how you would put the seed in. Yeah, you can grow whatever you want. Gandalf, a little rain is all we got. Oh, really? That's all you got? I'm shocked. Okay, there it is. The wind. I was like, how did you not get any of the wind? You did have some wind. Carol says that, Adam, it is also the kid's brain. Pretty amazing businessman. That's right. Indiana Chris, based on Mel Bartholomew? Yes. From, what did we say, everybody? Let me go back to it. There it is. In the 1980s. And the book that's in the description supposedly was wrote by Mel. And so we looked at these wonderful examples of how people lay out and grid and plant their square foot gardening spaces, most common in raised beds to get the most out of your space. This one used wood labels. I've seen people use rocks. I've seen the normal sticks. I've seen people cut up yogurt containers and write on those. Some people say it is helpful to teach children how to lay out a space. You see, there is a lot of leafy greens here and herbs. This is beets, it looks like. Intensive gardening, right? This one has the cinder blocks around the border. A lot of lettuce going on, it looks like. This is the in-ground beds, but you can, for some crops, take your square foot gardening idea to lay out the bed. And then on other beds, it's more beneficial to do row cropping, right? Maximizing your yield. So here's some more visual examples of how people have done that. You're still using trellises when needed. And you can use string to grid it out. If I ever do it, I just grab some sticks and lay out a square, plant the square, move the sticks, plant the square, move the sticks, plant the square. I don't grid the whole thing out. You do have the book? I wondered if it was any good. I don't have it. I've never read it. It seems like they did an update on it, Indiana Chris. Like a new edition. You know how they do that with stuff? Carol says, oh, it went with his book. To Indiana Chris. Newfound Drum Productions says, I do. I don't know what you're talking about. More words in the sentence. Petite Jean. Oh, I didn't say that right. River Homestead, I've seen you around. Hey, welcome to this. Do you square foot garden? Do you intensely plant many different types of crops in one space? Keeping in mind your companion plants. We got to get those pollinators and beneficial predators in to kill the pests, to capture and destroy. Adam says to Carol, Kevin is a very attractive guy and he's very persuasive, not to mention his success of being a business owner. Well, and then look what he did to his house. He just doubled his square feet by doing the porch remodel. Have you seen that? That was a great idea for his property. Serena Norell, I got compost from the Boy Scouts and out of 10 bags only found 2 big pieces of wood. Newfound Drum Productions. I have 2 citrus trees just shipped to me. I can't wait. I have not ordered any trees because it's not tree ordering season. I have to wait till April to purchase trees. 1, they're on sale usually, and 2, it's a safer time for shipping because it's below freezing here. Jay Dixon, Rebel Gardener, I resist against structure. Carol says, yes, multi-business owner. To Adam, Indiana, Chris, I tried root crops here before, but it didn't do so well. You just, you didn't get a harvest kind of a situation. You can always do some containers with a mix of soil that's beneficial for root crops. It's interesting to think about root crops in history, and this is something I want to talk about on a future live stream. Of all the things that we used to grow as roots that we don't see anymore, really, that people lived off of once upon a time. So I hope to dig that list out for you guys, and we'll go plant shopping and look at them, and you can decide if you want to plant that too or not. Richard has 2 IBC totes, flow bins cut in half, holes drilled in the base for drainage, some 2-inch irrigation piping for the edges, a frame of long sticks as a trellis for raised beds. I love when we repurpose things in a manner that works to grow food. South Florida Sunshine. I like balance in the garden, but I have a bit of perfectionism, so I have to go random a bit or not get stuff planted. The other idea is it doesn't let as many weeds come in. So usually with a row crop, you're weeding up and down the row on the sides a lot. Unless you have it planted where it's getting shaded out, or maybe you have it heavily mulched, where in the square foot gardening method, there's like 0 room for weeds to show up because it's so densely planted, right? Yeah, paint sticks make great markers, says Indiana Chris. What does anybody else have any more ideas on plant tags, plant markers, variety in their garden? Gandalf says, a lot of wind, but I only found 1 Polar Pop cup in my yard. I usually find more trash than that after a windstorm. Yes, the struggle of town, even country. You get garbage in the country, but I did. The other day I had to go pick up a bunch of stuff that blew in. Carol says, I have a video of using old vertical blinds to make plant labels too. Oh, yeah, that would work. I could see that for sure. Jay Dixon, I mark my garden sections with both a rough paper map and plant markers. Some people just take a video or a picture. Now, I usually have a blueprint drawing, but I usually don't label what specific tomato is going there. I'm like, this is the slicer tomatoes. This is the paste tomatoes over here. I don't have in my paper what type of slicer is that. Is it a purple Cherokee? Is it a lemon boy? What is it? That's where I try to get a tag in the ground, but I also feel very annoyed by pulling tags out at the end of the season. So I don't know what to do. DCBs, that's a good idea for the pests. Fox at Outdoors, welcome. Organized chaos is in my garden. Would you say that you follow square foot gardening rules of, so many plants in a square foot per which kind of seed it is? Because I feel like when we say the word chaos gardening, somebody took some seeds and broadcasted them. To me, that's what chaos gardening looks like. It just whatever grows, that's what it is, South Florida Sunshine. Does lime usually alkalize soil? I think so. And lime is in cement mix. Something to think about using concrete. Yeah, the cinder blocks is a huge debatable thing to grow near. Gandalf has organized chaos as well. You grow every day in every way, guys. Adam says, I find it too troublesome to use the string. Yep, I just eyeball it and adjust to the plants I feel need more space. Yep, same here. Gene River Homestead, still too cold to plant here in western Arkansas. Yeah, we won't plant anything outside for at least another 45 days. I spoke earlier about the tray of peppers I planted. I have 15 varieties that I started going to try and start Peppers take a long time, of course. We had talked about that. Was it our last one? That's what made me do it. We talked about peppers so much in a last live stream that I go, you know what? I got to get it done. So I had to clear out space in the indoor grow station because it was full of things. So I did it, and my daughter helped me, and you know what she said? Mom, pepper seeds look like raindrops. Does anybody else feel like pepper seeds look like raindrops? Here's what they don't watch my channel, so they can see this. They're metal, if you can hear it. The leprechaun's coming. We have set traps, and we drew rainbows all over the sidewalk. And we burned the edges. We've got a little note. Gotta have some fun sometimes. Indiana Chris, I still have a Jerry Baker book, the Kmart guy on lawn care. You must have a whole library over there. What else you got? Carol's got a whole bunch of books. Jay Jackson, my turnips attract wireworms? What? I see turnips in the organic field for a cover crop, and they stink. Did I tell you guys that story? They worked them in the soil. It was a mix of turnips, collards, daikon radish. I think there was one more thing. And they worked it in. And somebody called the gas company because they thought there was a gas leak at the property because it's right across the road. Yeah. And we're like, no, it's the field. But thanks for being a lookout and concerned. I appreciated the call. So whenever it warms up, it comes back, the smell, and then goes away when it freezes. Jean River Homestead, I made a video of my small orchard today. Hey, my peach trees are awesome this year. Well, that's fantastic. The other day, was it the last live stream we did? We talked about the must-grow crops to save on your grocery bill. And the bonus at the end is go start your orchard and your fruit guilds and your perennials actually first. That's going to help your grocery bill, right? Oh, does that say pickle? Carol says, ew, pickle worms too make me shudder. I am not looking that up. Gandalf says, Bobby, I saw that and put your vid on my watch later list. Yeah, the Bobby's Jean River Homestead. Excuse me, sorry. Miss Sharon, I use metal and a paint pen for markers. Yeah, because isn't that the struggle of it gets washed off or sun faded? Whatever you wrote on there, by the end of the season, it's like, what? Fox at Outdoors. Bamboo dowels make excellent garden markers. Carol says to Petit, I don't say that right. Jean River Homestead, do they drop what they can't handle? My Florida Belle is young, but has many on it for a young tree. Indiana Chris, I used to fro Roma tomatoes. They make great sauce. I'm assuming that's grow. Roma sounds like a great sauce tomato. For sure. What fungus or problems might cause young branches to die back at their ends? We're talking about the peach tree, Carol, right? Indiana Chris, lime sweetens the pH. Tack master, hey. I made a list of what I wanted to grow, and it was 20 items long, and I remember how stressed I was with just tomatoes and peppers, so I'm struggling to figure it out. How to map it out can be overwhelming if that's what we're talking about, like how to actually put the seeds in the ground where so they have enough space, because there's always your seed packet directions, and when we're talking about square foot gardening method, you don't read the seed packet spacing recommendations whatsoever, right? You go to that chart of how many of this plant can go in a square foot before it becomes an actual problem. Understanding what you're going to use your harvest for helps narrow down what to grow. And if you're in your first couple years, starting with a smaller grow list is 100% better to get good at growing those 5 things and understanding their needs and their pests and when to harvest, if you even like eating them, It's great when you can go find another gardener to be like, "Hey, how would you lay this out? How much space do you have? How much do you grow in that space?" Understanding that you don't have to plant it all in one weekend. Now, some people do that. They plant their whole garden in one weekend and never plant another seed again the whole season. Where I plant something every 2 weeks. You take something out, you put something in, right? Until like I'd say August, I have to have stuff planted. And then in August, I should probably stop putting seeds in because I'm not going to get to eat them. The frost is going to come in October, right? Jean River Homestead says to Carol, my trees are so young, so most of the flowers drop. They drop when they're young, but last year I got many peaches that fed a lot of raccoons. What? They stole your peaches? Tack master, not counting fruits. Oh, I completely lost my mind when I had access to an offsite garden with the perennials. I mean, I bought so many and then had to plant them, and now I'm learning how to take care of them, and I kind of want to do it again. Let's be real. I kind of want to do it again. Because I'd been thinking about it for years. If I ever get land, how would I lay it out? If I ever had space, what would I plant? I already had the list sitting, right? I kind of lost my mind. Carol is talking to Chris about this acidifier alkaline situation with lime and is apologizing to having to repeat. And Chris said alkaline. Jay Dixon, every few years I do organized chaos by sorting old seeds by height and dumping in a bowl, and then do a very tight planting and wish them well. Yeah, if anything, it's a cover crop at that point, right? Work it back into the soil, green manure, backs it outdoors. I just sort of plant wherever. No limit on spacing either. I like having the freedom to spread out my plants if need be. I tried square foot gardening, but it didn't sit well with me, limited my growing. A lot of the times it's like, well, I've got a row of tomatoes here, but there's some bare earth under here, and I can grow in layers. So if you understand root systems, there's deep roots, there's lateral roots, there's stuff that just grows in the ground directly, has growth at the top. So it's like, well, maybe I had peas growing and then they're dying out. And so my tomatoes now are going to get bigger in that space because they both use a trellis. And then at the base, the feet of the tomato, there's things like, here's some lettuce. Maybe it's a head or leaf lettuce. You pick your poison. And then you could have a little radish sprinkled in there. You can have carrots. You can even have a bush bean because the bush beans, not going to take over the tomato space. It's going to be a nitrogen fixer. You're getting in that square foot 4 crops versus just 1 tomato. Now, did I plant it perfectly in each square? Everybody's got no. It's like I used the row thinking along it in the layers of it, right? So every time you have something growing above the soil, have something growing beneath the soil with it in the same home, right? Jean River Homestead. Shawnee Grows, I have never had any luck growing pepper from seed. I get plant starts from Walmart. Fantastic. We have to do that sometimes. I know I did that for many years and really hoping I have good success this year. I have picked out specific varieties for specific jobs that are not sold at the nurseries around me. So I am using some heat and keeping them watered and monitoring the temperature, and I will wait patiently and hopefully keep them alive and then harden them off and then transplant them and then hope they there's this huge process, but it's worth it, right? Indiana Chris says Acida's soil is low pH. Serena Norell, anyone else do the string weave fence to support tomato plants? Yeah, I've heard that referred to as the Florida weave. I've tried it. Self-Florida Sunshine. Hey there, Tack Masters should be what you enjoy. Don't stress yourself. Indiana Chris, sorry. Acidity is lower pH. Kentucky Goblin. My garden is top secret. I don't have any markers. Yes. And my other issue is tags can get moved by tiny hands. So if I have a video of me talking about it, they can't take that, right? Did you set your leprechaun trap, Randall? Carol, it's called the Florida Weave. Have tried it, but the tomatoes were planted too late. Hello to all. Good to see you. Yeah, we were just talking about square foot gardening versus row gardening. Which crop would you like? Would you be most excited to grow in a square foot garden? Root vegetables are the winner? No, there's a tie. So we've got leafy greens at 15%, root vegetables 31%, tomatoes or peppers 31%, herbs, basil, cilantro, chives, for example, 23%. Carol's still talking to Chris about this pH business with lime. Randall says, I will hide my garden from the critters. Very nice. Very nice. Chris has answered, lime should raise the pH. Garden Like a Viking did a video about pH, and I think you guys should watch it based on this conversation you're having and see what you think about pH after that. Without talking about blueberries or roses is my disclaimer for that Garden Like a Viking video about pH. Kentucky Goblin, I don't even know where my garden is. It's over yonder, Barry says. Indiana Chris, here I had loam on top with sand and rocks below. Oh, that makes it hard for root crops. Yeah. They got to be able to stretch out. That's right, Miss Sharon. I now have YouTube podcasts where it's audio, short little blips of me talking about growing topics. So you can play that on your way to bed or in the car and help support the channel. I am also posting the Learn As You Grow podcast to other platforms. For example, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Amazon Music. And as I said, it's called Learn As You Grow. In the description, we have links to the articles and pictures and videos and a book and the tool if you want help with spacing seeds in a square foot for your square foot gardening dreams. Don't forget to subscribe for our future gardening chats and hit that like button. Share us with a gardening friend. Go back to where I was at. Jay's Techmaster, hey, you want to grow tall stuff on the north side of the garden. Sprawling stuff needs space control. Also good to get an experienced garden buddy to ask advice. I even go to the terrible, horrible, not so good Facebook, and I have a Minnesota gardening page that I hang out in, and there's all kinds of great tips and examples, and you can ask questions, and it's for my state. Your extension office would have a list of master gardeners, and usually they offer Zoom classes from your home on a computer or phone, and usually they're free on certain topics. Having a neighbor gardener would be much more better for the direct one-on-one verbal and actual coaching hands-on stuff. And also, I want to say a part of gardening is just trying it out. Like, don't get hung up on the plan. You've got your list of what you want to grow. Understand how far in the soil to put it if you're direct sowing it or starting it ahead of time. Understand the temperature it needs, the water it needs, the sun it needs, and grow it. If you find out later, like, well, I guess I shouldn't have planted that too close to that because there was a mess or it made something not grow well, you learn as you grow, right? Don't get hung up on it. Carol says, yes, so I got it right. We have super alkaline soil. So hard to use the blocks. Thank you to Chris. Just wanted others to know who struggled acidifying their soil. For my blueberries and roses, I have to add an amendment every year. Kentucky Goblin says to Storms, who told you? Barry was like, I was just guessing. It's like I'm not going to say that online publicly. Nope. Remember to hit the thumbs up, says Miss Sharon. Richard, Indiana Chris, I have Roma tomatoes. Yes, make a fantastic sauce. But everyone who saw them was, oh, jam tomatoes. My wife, you told me how to say this name before. Is it Mariska? Loves them in tomato stew, but other tomatoes in burgers. Yeah, like a slicer tomato for a burger or a BLT. And then like cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes have their own category, right? Gandalf says raccoons will eat anything. Jay Dixon says to Jean River Homestead, those thieving raccoons wear masks for a reason. Randall says, too much, too much. Carol, Roma tomatoes is one of the Italians use for their sauces. San Marzano, Amish paste we hear about a lot around here. There's two other ones I know, but I can't think of the name right now. Gandalf says, I saw 3 raccoons fighting over a cooked onion. Indiana Chris to Richard, yes. Excuse me, we blanched them and used for sauces like stewed tomatoes. Excuse me again, sorry. Serena Norell, I'm growing a Florida Petite micro tomato plant. I plan to plant it in the center of a 20-gallon fabric pot with carrots surrounding it, 4 inches out. The nasturtiums opposite sides. Yep, they'll fall out. And a French marigold and basil opposite the other way. The 20-gallon pot might not support the marigold with the list. You can try it though. All about trying things, I think, and you can always move it later. Carol says, I have seen raccoons fighting in a tree, thought it was cats, then one got knocked out and ran away. Funniest thing I ever saw, she says that to Gandalf. Indiana Chris, crop compatibility is another thing to consider. We talked about companion plants in a previous live stream, and the big thing to take away with this is don't plant nightshades together. Period. Don't let them touch each other. Give them some space. Anything in the nightshade family. We showed a beautiful graphic that night of what is a nightshade even. Jay Dixon, Gandalf, Raccoon 1, my onion, Raccoon 2, mine, third raccoon. I called dibs on the rotted old onion. Indiana Chris, be right back. Gandalf says, yep, Carol, they are funny critters, but mean, too. Adam is still awake and with us. I feel it has a lot to do with where you're at, also north or south, humid or dry. I'm zone 8B in Oregon, but can't grow the same thing as someone in zone 8B in Georgia and vice versa. That is a wonderful golden nugget of a tip here, because it is so much truth to it. Kentucky Goblin, I don't think that much ahead about the garden. I just trust. It's just know what you want to plant because you want to eat that. You have a plan for how you're going to put it in your mouth, right? Carol says to Serena, put it in a kiddie pool or something that will help you water from below. All those points will suck out the water quick along with the heat. So for your 20-gallon container, put it in something and bottom water it is what Carol's saying to help keep it at the right moisture level. Unless you get rain every day, don't do that because then they're just sitting wet feet all the time. Miss Sharon to Adam, that's why I pretty much ignore zones. Zones really only matter when we're talking about perennials, what you're going to buy, how cold does it get, how hot does it get, right? It doesn't matter about our annual gardening. Carol says, yes, nasty rabies carrying things to Gandalf. Randall, we're going off here. Been nice. Peace. Set your traps for leprechauns, Randall. Gandalf to Jay Dixon. We were camping, and later that night we heard a coon dog barking like he'd treed a coon. Oh, no. We wondered if the onion had something to do with that. Oh, wow. No room for a kiddie pool. All right. Yeah, Garden Like a Viking is who I talked about. Has the recent video about pH. And with the caveat of we're not talking about blueberries or roses. And then he's actually going to be a guest over on It's All About the Biology. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, I interviewed Ken from It's All About the Biology, our first ever interview here at Shawnee Grows on a previous live stream. Add it to your watch later if you haven't seen it. Adam says to Miss Sharon, wow, we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes, guys. Hardiness, good job, team, right? Hardiness zones are so misunderstood. Yeah. Richard was looking for spray paint for plastic in my workshop and found a box with packs of seeds in it. What? Beetroot, cucumber, peppers, okra, cabbage. Plant them all when the right time is, because you're in autumn, I believe. So you couldn't plant probably cabbage maybe and beets. Tack master, my beefsteaks took out my string nets, so I ended up staking them and tying strings from the top. Yeah, you can grow your tomatoes any way you want. There's so many methods if you want to support it, and if you just want it to sprout out on the ground, because it'll grow that way. It's just more prone to getting hurt and sick, is all. Like last year, I had a tomato failure for many reasons in my new to me space, my offsite garden. But the ones that I planted in the food forest and let them sprawl on the ground is where I got all my tomato harvest from. So, Carol says, yes, Kevin is. Man, I thought that said 10 pounds. And I'm like, no, that's not what that says. 10B, but Mediterranean. And I'm 10B, 11A, but tropical. To Adam, I cannot grow what he does always in the months he does. Yeah, like the planting schedule is not at all the same. Serena, yes, I forgot about that too. So Enoch on the Urban Gardener is actually going to have Garden Like a Viking on Saturday as well. But yeah, I did listen to the Garden Party podcast. And Texas Garden Guy is one of the hosts. Phil's Figs is another one. And then, what's the other gal's name? I don't remember. Storms, Radios, and Cats. I should rebuild my legal low power radio station and broadcast podcasts again like I did 8 years ago. 'Twas fun, too. Better get on that, Barry. Jean River Homestead. I just took out the garbage can. It was over 200 pounds and almost killed me. What? I'm glad you made it back safe. Tack Master. That's a great idea. I just use AI. Laugh out loud. Carol. I like that too. The adjustable string above is great for tomatoes, Tack Master. Would love to set that up. Hey, YouTube police. We're talking about square foot gardening. Now the poll says, which crop would you be most excited to grow in a square foot garden? And we have tomatoes or peppers are in the lead with 34%. Close second is your root vegetables. Yep. Gandalf says, Barry, there's a lot of channels on YouTube that deal with radios. There is a lot? What is a lot? What number does that equal? Barry probably already knows them all, too. There's a secret mall cop salute going on between Jay and Gary. Oh, Carol left you a note, Gary, because you left a comment on her video, but it was to me, apparently, about running, I think it was about running a playlist to get watch hours, and if so, thank you. I highly appreciate it. Yep. Yeah. They sell acidifier at the store. Yeah, every year I add stuff to my blueberries and my roses. Everything else, the soil food microweb takes care of everything. You don't have to worry about it. Oh, he was already on. He already did the show. Catch the replay. YouTube police. I did. I thought I commented on it. Okay. She probably hasn't checked it. Gary says, thank you, Miss Sharon. Tech Master, I want to eventually be able to grow blooming flowers for every month of summer for my bees. Do it. Zinnias, sunflowers, for sure, are like easy to grow, and they bloom. Obviously, a wildflower patch, your native wildflower seeds from the local co-op would work. I always plant a marigold, a calendula, a nasturtium. Plus, you have the flowers on your fruits and vegetables going on. Yes, to more flowers. Richard, storms, radios, and cats lost all my radios when my cottage burnt down. Roof fell in on my station. Oh, that's a bummer. Anne's place. Hey, good morning. You're beautiful as well today. We chit-chatted about square foot gardening, and we're still alive. Here we are. Tech Master, wildflowers are too wild for my likings. Oh, okay. Are you looking for perennials? Perennials, spring would be the tulips, daffodils, crocus, hyacinth. Summer would be, would you call an iris a summer flower or a spring flower? I'm not sure about an iris. And then your lilies, summer, I'd call that a summer flower, right? My chair's squeaking. I'm sure you can hear it. Sorry. You are at work. Okay, I wondered. And the zone is 8B, Mississippi. Oh, yeah. I never heard the report. I know you were somewhere talking about it. I'm pretty sure, obviously, but I missed everything from yesterday. So if you talked about it yesterday, I haven't caught up yet about the weather. I mean, clearly you're okay, but do you have anything you want to talk about? Did you have any damage? Because you have animals and stuff. USDA zones from YouTube police are more about the freeze dates than what you can grow. That's right. It's the average, how cold does it get, how hot does it get. If there's a perennial that needs chill hours, and if the perennial needs to survive the coldest temp, that helps you shop. Otherwise, it doesn't matter for planting growing food in the annual sense. So watch your frost times, or super hot times, or your rainy season. It depends on where you are in the world, what matters. Thank you, Richard says, for the chat about nightshade. Found out that the bush with pretty flowers is deadly poison devil's trumpet. Oh, man. Don't eat it. Yeah, we had, Carol did South Florida Sunshine did a poisonous plants for her, expertise of plants, if you'd call it like the Florida zone or whatever. And then someone was like, yeah, if the flower points down, it's probably a poisonous plant. I think Oops might have said that. Gary is talking about pH numbers for a blueberry bush. This is the channel I was talking about. It's all about the biology. Carol says you can use these movable plant bases too, to Serena, as long as it does not leak. Brandon Cross, what are you up to, man? I am definitely a tomato man. Yes, you are. You are definitely a tomato man. Carol, good to see you. From Anne. Tomato clips help for string trellis purposes. Foxit says, planting loofah again this year. If you need seeds for 2026, let me know. You're daring to plant loofah, huh? Bowtie Life in the Garden planted loofah. You should go over to his channel and see how that went. Thanks for the link, says Gandalf to Miss Sharon. Jean River Homestead, I just got one tomato last year. Well, only upwards and onwards this year for tomato goals, right? Do you eat tomatoes? Did you want more than one? Indiana Chris, I used to use old cotton t-shirts cut into strips to stake and tie up tomato plants. YouTube police, lots of factors in play. Yes, Richard, autumn. Okay, prepping my IBC tote raised bed for planting. Still too early now. Carolina Kind Family Homestead, cheers to you. Everyone, remember to set your leprechaun traps and count your gold before you go to bed. Brandon Cross, I can't grow peppers. Gandalf says to Gene River Homestead, Bobby, should I be afraid to ask what made it so heavy? Laugh out loud. YouTube police, I know. Don't a lot of types of gardening. Never really did the square foot gardening though. Yeah, it's I'm sure it's a niche. It's one of those super it can go in the spectrum of really neat and tidy and organized and invasive chaos. Right. Oh, there's the link to the live we did, our first ever interview here at Shawnee Grows. I hope you all liked that one. Leave me a comment in it. Carolina Kind Family Homestead Square Foot Gardening was my favorite TV show. Wait a minute, it was a TV show? What? Because, yeah, we did talk about Created by Mel Bartholomew in the 1980s. And now I'm going to lose where I was at. Because I just clicked that banner and I'm out of the chat. Is this where I was at? Yes. Okay, we did it. Ann's Place, Brandon Cross. That makes two of us. They refuse to grow with me. I hope I have a great pepper year. And if not, we will just keep trying. YouTube police, I saw it. Bowtie Life in the Garden, were your ears burning? I was talking about you and your loofah. How's it going? I'm surprised you're awake. Thanks for joining us. We talked about square foot gardening already. We're just kind of hanging out now. I might be super behind in the chat, but maybe not. YouTube police, I don't know how that messed up. I was saying to send me a message to remind me when I'm at home so I can play a playlist. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I understand. Gene River Homestead, Gandalf Smith, old dried beans and mostly some old peanut butter. Adam is still with us. Gardening with Des. Yes, that's the channel, is the other one you're thinking of. And we can't forget Phil from Phil's Figs. Right. Yes. I remembered Phil from Phil's Figs, but I couldn't remember Des. YouTube police, sorry I missed your comment, Jay Dixon. I had to go back to it. Salute to you as well. Carolina Kind Family Homestead Rutabaga is good for square foot garden. Ooh, where's my list? Did I close it? I was going to see how many go in a square foot. Where's R? Rutabaga, 4. Is that true? 4 in a square foot. J. Dixon to Bowtie Life in the Garden. The J bot greets the Bowtie human. Hi, all late getting home, about to crash. Just wanted to say hey. Thanks for saying hey. Yes, go crash, go sleep, go rest, reset, make new blood, make new skin cells. Oh, you've been on here a while, Anne? Hi. YouTube police, gotta run. Just wanted to stop and say what's up. All right. Gene River Homestead, wildflowers are everywhere. Don't trip and fall, Gary. Be careful when you run. But hi, Life of the Garden, J-Bot. Yawn. It's so late. Yes, have a great week. The beginning of a new week. And we have some snacks from Carol. Okay, Iris is in the spring blooming time. Thank you for clarifying that, Adam. Everything was fine? Okay. Gary says, I'm talking about weather, right? Gandalf, I saw some daffodils blooming here yesterday. What? I will not be seeing that for a while still. J. Dixon, Debote Life in the Garden. AI never sleeps. Insert creepy music here. No damage. Yes, you have critters. All right. Have a good rest of your evening, Gary. See you all again. Nice live, Shawnee. Hey, Indiana Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for contributing to the chat. See you around next time. We do have a live stream coming up at some point. it's not scheduled yet, but what the conversation is 25 survival crops that fed families during the Great Depression. We're going to explore 25 resilient high yield crops that kept families fed during tough times. And you might have never heard of these plants before, and I'm going to see if we can go shopping for them and buy them in today's 2025 land. When is that live, you might ask? Subscribe and stay tuned, because I don't know. I have a job and I'm a mother and a wife and sorry. I don't know. Carol says my walking irises are blooming now. And you second vote that is a spring bloom. And Gandalf is seeing the tulips. Of course, if there's Narcissus, the daffodil, then there's tulips. That's right. And that is Ohio. For anyone that didn't know. Anne's place. I planted Brussels sprouts and garlic yesterday. Wow. Oh my goodness. Look who just walked in the room. This might be late, but hey, silly Lily, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. We looked at square foot gardening layouts of crops lists that are working for it, which crops you cannot grow with square foot gardening. We looked at the pros and cons between like what's difference between rows and square foot. We looked at some pretty raised beds to build, tools, the seed guide, seeding square. If you need help with spacing, we've got which crop would you be most excited to grow in a square foot garden? And now the root vegetable is winning at 37%. Anne's place, following the seed guide we got from Diva in the Dirt. Diva in the Dirt did a really fun live last night about struggle meals. What did you grow up with that was one of those meals where your parents had to serve it to feed something because we couldn't yet get to the store, right? Maybe you have things that you make for your family now or with your spouse. What does your struggle meal capsule look like in 2025? We'd like to get back to cooking from scratch, right? Jay says to Richard, Devil's Trumpet sounds like the start of a murder mystery. Bowtie Life in the Garden. I have angel trumpets. Brugmansia sang Gina and Solanaceae. I've thought about putting poisonous plants around, and I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it with my kids. The ages, not that they're not ones to just go and eat things randomly, but it just makes me nervous. Here we go. Bowtie Life in the Garden. I have 45,500 seeds for loofah. Yes, indeed. Fox It Outdoors, Shawnee Grows. I grew loofah before, so you know what you're getting into. Got about 10 of them from 3 plants. I'd consider that a good crop considering I've never grown them before. Yes, 1 is better than 0. So 10 is fantastic. Richard says, Jay Dixon, yes. Agatha Christie. Oh, I used to read her. 10 Indians was the one I liked, I believe. What was the second book I liked about from her? I can't remember. I can't read that stuff anymore. No, but yes. Apparently hallucinogenic and toxic. Shawnee Grows is correct. Don't eat it. Carolina Kind Family Homestead. Yes, ma'am. Square Foot Garden was good show. The man taught me a lot. Oh, I love that. Bowtie Life in the Garden. The loofah was invoked, and I showed up. Poof. Jay Dixon. Richard. Jay pauses on her late night snack of Devil's Trumpet. Not good? Gandalf. One of my neighbors was telling me she sautés red cherry tomatoes. I've never heard of that. She blisters them? Is that what you mean by sautéing them, Gandalf? Am I reading this right? Sautés red cherry tomatoes. Because how would you just eat them raw, you mean? versus cooking them up. Ann's Place says, Shawnee, I never give up. I plant them every year. Let's hope I have it at the right time this year. Yeah, the timing thing. Backing stuff up, planting it later, figuring out your windows. If you don't have like a gardener that goes, hey, this is the time, right? Miss Sharon reminds everybody to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and come back to comment. Carol says, hey there, Bowtie Life in the Garden. Destin just upgrade to 9B. I'm down in Palm Beach County in Hades A and B. Old Man King Homestead's got to go now. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us this evening. Carolina Kind Family Homestead, 4 to 6, but get size of softballs. So do you want the rutabaga to be that size? Like, you know how you have certain crops where you want to harvest it small because when it gets big, it's woody? Is a rutabaga one that you want that size? That's the goal, is softball. I imagine they can touch a little, like with a beet. You know how you is it called multi-sow? Mother Earth Garden Club, give us an update. How are you doing? Did you hear? Maybe not for you, but for I possibly am going to see 3 to 5 inches of snow on Wednesday, and I'm so happy. Serena Phil from Phil's Fig sent me a Chicago fig tree cutting, and a friend of mine is growing it for me. Excuse me. Planted in October, I think. Should have figs in late July or August. Ooh, sorry. Move the cord. Mic sound. Sorry. I apologize. Carol says sticky Gandalf delicious, especially added on top of pasta with Alfredo sauce. All right, Jean River Homestead. I grow softball size. Oh, you have elephant elephant garlic that worked. I don't know what happened to mine, so I'm gonna have to plant some at this offsite garden that I have now because, yes. Now elephant garlic doesn't have garlic taste or flavor. It's more of a leek, but it's amazing. Just like to grow something large, right? Richard, the dogs got up, gave me a good morning cuddle. I let them outside. We're outside in the garden for a few minutes and are back in bed. Nice. Carol says, how are your hours? Shawnee grows Bowtie Life in the Garden. Serena, my figs took a couple years to produce any figs. I was questioning whether or not a fig would produce a fig when the cutting is that new. Now, I have a fig tree, and it's currently in my house. I'm really hoping I didn't it. And it's going to go back outside when the conditions are right? But I don't foresee it producing a fig anytime soon. Now, the thing is 4 or 5 feet tall. I don't know how to take care of it either, and I honestly want a different one, another one. I have a brown turkey, and I want to get a Chicago. But it's hard for me to justify doing that because I can't leave them outside in the ground. I have to baby it and bring it in every winter. Do I want to do that with another tree? I don't know. Serena Norell, which flowers are always kissing? Tulips. Adam, subscribe, and I don't know. What? Jay Dixon, no garden visible yet. Stuff still crushed under feet of snow. Snow is white, heavy, solid rain for your southerners. We had 8 inches of snow. It all melted, and now we're going to get some more. So, filling up the water table, right? Silly Lily, you always have great information, Shawnee Grows. So much fun, too. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I actually have lilies tonight, too. Ta-da. Oh, excuse me. Adjusting the seatage. There is the Diva in the Dirt channel where she had a really fun live stream last night. Go ahead and hit the replay, and in the chat tell us what your struggle meals were growing up, what they are now in your current family. Maybe it's changed if you're an empty nester. And in 2025, It's a whole different game. Anne's Place, Shawnee Grows. I thought we were eating normal, like others, every day. It was only years later I realized we always ate struggle food. Yes. There's many stories of that where it's like it was actually the person's favorite meal in the household of a memory. And then later on as an adult, their parents told them, like, well, that was actually our just keeping our stuff together meal. And it was a favorite. Isn't that cool how that works out? Carol says, just started figs this year. I have one from Israel. Finally, it sprouted. And 3 others. Cannot recall the type. Carol says, yeah, right? As a kid, I had no idea. Bowtie life in the garden. Shauna, you should not grow poison plants. Yeah, I didn't buy them. I didn't plant them. Our kids are grown and grandkids are on their way to being grown. Yep, I didn't. I'm not gonna, I don't think. I'm not going to. If I had some kind of massive acreage and wooded lot and like a secret area where I could have a poison plant parade over there for no particular reason, but then I would, but I don't. The places I have to grow right now, they have access to 100%, and they're very visible, and nope, I'm not going to do it. Silly Lily, don't take chances in the garden with toxic poisonous plants when you have little ones or pets. I have that too, the dog situation, right? Gandalf says cut them in half and fries them. The rutabaga? That was the other thing I wanted to talk about when we do this live stream that I mentioned. Where did that go? The 25 survival crops that fed families during the Great Depression. We're going to look at what they are, the name, if you can even buy them these days, because I haven't heard of half of them, and recipes. How do you eat the thing? I want to talk about all of that in a future live stream. Like whenever I get time in the next 7 days, that's going to be our conversation. Because I've been, oh, come back to me, chat. Did that. No pets. Okay. Carol, I ripped out Deadly Nightshade just this week. It was in my pot with my Japota Cabra. Nope. Japota Cabra. Sabra. Here we go. Richard. Serena Norel, yes, sometimes my English is not so good. Right, yeah. I understood. Bowtie Life in the Garden. I am in zone 9B, and 1 block north of you is zone 9A. That is hilarious. I am normally 4B, and the new word on the street is 5A, and my state has everything from that down to 3A. Carolina Kind Family Homestead, yes, because they cook down. CR, hello, welcome to our Sunday night. Don't forget to set your leprechaun trap, CR, and count your gold before you go to bed. It's good to see you. Ann's is talking to Bowtie about her zone over in Turkey. Carol says, if you have teens in your neighborhood, do not grow angel trumpets either. Yeah, with all the stuff on the medias, because teens are deciding that they want some experience, and they died making it into tea. Jay Dixon says to Boat I Live in the Garden, what happens if you put your plant on wheels, bike trailer, and cycled it 1 block from zone 9B to 9A? Video it. Carol says, yeah. Silly Lily. Rutabagas are larger and sweeter with yellowish flesh, while turnips are smaller with a white or purple skin and white flesh, and a slightly more radish-like flavor. I can't wait to dig into this crops list with you guys. I hope you all come to that one. We're going to look at the pictures and how to prepare them, and I want all the fun experience knowledge tips in there with me. Oh, goody. Mother Earth Garden Club, I'm ready for spring. My indoor seeds are in soil, and one pepper is just starting to grow. I just put my seeds in. It was after the live stream we talked about it. Friday night was the live, so Saturday I did it. Yeah. and 15 different kinds. My onions are still going good. I've got a bunch of celery going. The next thing I have to start is the greens and like cabbage and broccoli, but I am out of room because I have another thing growing right here. So what I should do is build the cold frame, because we just did a live stream talking about cold frames, and put it somewhere. I I think I need to put it here where I live versus the offsite garden, because I need to be able to watch it because of temperatures and stuff. And I need to sow all of those seeds in that to give my grow space because I'm full up and I still have things to start in April. April is when I start my tomatoes. And the reason I don't have room right now is because I have tomatoes growing right now, but they're my winter tomatoes that are indoors and I'm waiting for them to be ripe and then they're out. But then we grow the summer tomatoes, right? This is the number, Carol. If you haven't seen this number in the chat, this is the answer to your question. Hooray, yay. She says, I know, right? It's why my husband will never plant them on our property, and I support him. Adam, it is past bedtime. See you everyone later. Jay, Shawnee, Serena, Dave, Lily, all the mods and everyone else. Thank you for staying so late. Please get your rest so you can function in the morning. Bowtie, oh Jay, if I wheel the tomatoes one block north, they just blow up. Blueberries, shrivel. Hot peppers, freeze. Anne says, I wouldn't neither, Carol. Jay, most trees. It's best to get the plant stronger for 2 to 3 years before the strain of fruiting. Like you would recommend picking off flowers. Focus growth on trees and roots. Yeah, I would like to do a feeding on my fruit trees when I'm supposed to, probably in a month, since like I said, we're getting snow, and then refresh the mulch around the base. That's just my guess. I actually have never had fruit trees before. This is my first time, so. Serena, if growing elephant garlic and a recipe calls for 2 cloves, how many elephant garden cloves or how much of one clove should I use? It is up to you. You're the one eating the food. Doesn't matter. Recipes are just suggestions. It's all about your taste and your preferences, because elephant garlic doesn't taste like regular garlic. Carolina Kind Family Homestead, I have the brown turkey, Chicago, and Beer's black figs. Okay, so how do you feel about them? CR, I see you. Carol says, whoop, whoop, 1864. Okay, y'all, let's get Shawnee there. Play those podcasts too. It will help. Cool flowers. I have to go look outside now to see what figs I have. Oh, all right, hurry back. Thank you for the comment about lovely flowers. Appreciate all of you. I appreciate my flowers. CR, I had to eat more after that stream last night. Yeah, we talked about all the struggle meals. Jay Dixon, I can barely stand the struggle food of my childhood. Reminds me of desperation, hunger, and lack of choice in food. Now, there are meals that we will never speak of and eat 100% between my husband and I, because we ate it and ate it and ate it as children. 100%. And I think, like, okay, what's that going to be for our kids? What are they going to say is the top, like, wow, it feels like home when mom makes this, when they're adults, and wow, I'm never cooking or eating that again because mom made this, like, fun data. Tack Master is speaking about that hamburger helper. It's very easy to make from scratch. Mother Earth Garden Club, my mom used to tear up bread and fried with potatoes to make them stretch. And I had no idea why as a kid. Interesting. We talked about how there was always buttered bread with everything. And then, yeah, bring snacks. I mean, if anything, right? Barry, I see you. He tried that. It didn't work so well. You have to ration your snacks, though. You can't eat 14 days worth of meal prep in one night, right, everybody? Wink, wink. Newfound Drum Productions. I'm in growing zone 5, zone 5A. Am I supposed to say it more Canadian, eh? Eh? Is that better? Here we go. South Florida Sunshine. Violet de Bordeaux is one of the figs, and I'm missing the label. CR is in zone 3. Richard, my granny had a notebook full of recipes from the Depression time, and these were the most amazing, delicious food ever. I really hope that notebook is somewhere in the boxes in Dad's loft. Me too, man. That would be amazing. What is Shawnee saying when she holds up that bag? I held up a bag. This bag? Count your gold? Making a leprechaun joke for St. Patrick's Day? Because the leprechaun is going to come steal your gold? I have kids and we're playing a game. Tack Master. Zone 5A, wanting to grow olives and citrus. That would be, I was going to swear, really cool. Storms, radios, and cats. Thank you. Count your gold before going to bed. Yes, that is the sentence I'm saying. Newfound Drone Productions is talking to Tack Master. I'm growing citrus indoors in Newfoundland, Canada. Turnips smell like farts. Yes. Cliff is talking to Tack. For citrus, you need to keep them very warm in the wintertime. You can spray them. Keep them inside or just have a heated greenhouse. Yeah. You are growing horseradish, Mother Earth Garden Club. That's in your land forever now. And I make fire cider, but I don't put horseradish in it. And that is definitely on the list of Minnesota perennials, but I am not planting that. Nope. Tack Master, yeah, but won't they get too big? Well, is it in a container? Because then it only gets to the size of the roots allowance. We're talking about the olives and the citrus? It's going to be like put it on wheels to bring it in and out of your house every year. I missed, are you having to bring these indoors? I think is what we're talking about. Right? Excuse me. Where's my gold? Darn little green man must have took it. Carol. Newfound Drum Productions to Tack Master. No, you prune. You keep it to the size you want. You are in control. Carolina Kind Family Homestead. I planted some cabbages and onions in peach trees, etc. Tack Master. Oh, cool. I just assumed they became huge. Bowtie Life in the Garden. I have 2 Dorset Naga chili pepper plants that just germinated. Yes, 800,000 to 1,600,000 million, 1,600 million. If I grow it, I have to eat the edibles on camera? And you're gonna pass out. What? Who challenged you to... Sorry, I'm stretching my neck. Who challenged you to do this, such a thing? You daredevil. Don't hurt yourself, man. Carol, I was going to try that too. What type of temps does it like, though? You were gonna grow horseradish in Florida? Never heard of such a thing. Newfound Drone Productions, Tack Master. There's dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties. Yes. You already planted the maters? I can't plant nothing right now. Happy Leprechaun Day! Some shrub citrus. Oh, somebody... Phil's figs. Was it Phil's figs? Somebody was talking about which ones to do. Meyer lemon, and what was the orangey Satsuma smaller citrus to grow for the northerners? It wasn't persimmons. I think it was Satsuma and Meyer lemon. I'm in Minnesota. Doesn't mind cold, I guess. The horseradish loves it here. It's never gonna leave your yard. It'll be there forever. Carol says to Sierra, as soon as she reminded us about that meal, I've had to go make a snack. Barry says, and how did that make you feel? Boat I live in the garden. We are going to a huge leprechaun party tomorrow with friends. Woo woo! Green hats, green outfits, green beer. Come on, where's the lemonade? Green lemonade. Leprechaun music. So much more. Yeah, I got some snacks for the children. We built traps. We did, I was going to put on rain dance music or something, you know, Celtic folk tomorrow. That's about all I got. Sorry. Gene River Homestead, my elephant garlic tastes like garlics. Tastes like garlic, if not hotter. I love it. Oh, I thought it didn't. When I've had it, it was like weak. It was not strong. So maybe it depends on its environment it's grown in. Bowtie Life, what are you still doing awake? Did you forget? There's like that thing called sleep. We love having you here, but you should go to bed now. Jay says to Bowtie Life in the Garden, is AI allowed to attend the party? Innocent look. Yeah, you gotta rest up for your party. Sam Pottsick, what are you doing? Just got home from work. Midnight garden stream. Yeah. What's up, man? We're talking about square foot gardening was the start of this whole thing, and then it's kind of morphed into whatever's happening right now. Adam, last comment, I swear. Government cheese. Yeah, your struggle meal. Go to bed. Silly Lily. When cupboards were bare, we'd make sugar and shortening sandwiches. That's right. Make a sandwich. Go to live in the garden, Jay. Only is you can handle your liquor. She can bring the green lemonade. Richard, Bowtie Life in the Garden. I have Thai red chili, and I added these to almost everything. Wow. I also have Scottish bonnet chilies, and they're tiny, just forming baby chilies. Apparently, those are hot. I've heard they're hot. Yeah, I can't. I'm going to grow some hot stuff, and it's not for me. It's for other people. I want the nice peppers to dry and make powders and spices and sauces, and fresh ones for blistering and roasting and smoking, and I not the hot ones. I'm going to grow some hot ones. Like I said, 15 different kinds. Only 6 of them are hot, if I remember right. Carol says too, Bowtie Life in the Garden. Did you see my comment? Did your area get an upgrade for your zone? Seems like everyone from Central Up did, but down here they just gave up. Does anyone remember or know what Inky Toast is? Silly Lily says. Does it have that stuff that's in my kitchen? Vegemite on it? Silly Lily? Bowtie Life in the Garden. We went up from 8A to 9B in the last update from the USDA. It will be back to 9A next update in 9 more years, I'm sure. Is that the range? Is every 9 years they take the numbers and average it out? Jay Dixon says to Bowtie Life in the Garden, the JBot shows her typing appendage can hold a bottle of liquor. Holds my liquor. CR, I have good color coins, but I'm Lonnie like that. Was Lonnie the name of the doll I was looking at today? I swear it was. I think it was Lonnie. It was a series of dolls. Carol says, yes, that was mentioned. Sugar on bread with butter or fat. Even water as a snack after school. Serena says, I thought you were holding up a bag of seeds you were going to have a drawing for. No, it's my coins. It's my coins to play with the kids tomorrow for the leprechaun. And the little note that I made my artist husband write out for us. Gene River Homestead. I had an avocado tree in California. The new homeowner killed it in less than a year. I had it for 10 years. That is so sad. When you leave something behind and then the new owner kills it. Oh, no. Newfound Drum Productions. Oh, I picked up some Minnesota. It's Minnesota midget, but I was trying to read it how it was wrote. Cantaloupe seeds today. Hope they produce their little ones. Yep. I usually grow those with Kajari melons because then I get an orange and a green for like little snacking ones. Carol says, I thought it seemed high for Destin. That was a big jump at the golf roasts you all over there. To bow tie life in the garden. Clamondin. What is that? What are we talking about? I don't know. Bow tie life in the garden. Eating hot peppers is what I do to myself. And all my guinea pig friends, I can sucker into it. Laughing. I recommend Newfound Drum Productions, not just Mayer. It kind of has to be the improved Meyer lemon. Meyer. It withstands colder temps. Is this a fruit tree? Come on, man. There. Is this a fruit tree? It must be, because I see it again. Satsuma mandarin can be grown outdoors in the summer and brought indoors for winter. Yeah, like if I had some space to winter them, I think I'd try it. Carol says, oh my gosh, to Jean River Homestead. We had brought a seed from California to Florida. Ours grew 20 feet tall, and the squirrels and rats ruined them every year. Oh, Meyer lemon is a finicky tree. What gets me is you're taking care of it for so long, and then like it's growing the fruit, the lemon or whatever you're doing, and then it takes so long for that to get ripe, and it's like, oh, I waited all this time for one when I could have just bought one for 99 cents. But that's not the point. The point is the experience, the freshness, I did this without any other things. I know what's in it. Have more than one, right? Yes, it's good to see you. Late night gardening chat. Cliff says to Newfound Drum Productions, I have Dwarf Meyer lemon. It's going nuts after the 2 years I've had it. Bowtie life in the garden. Okay, really? The pillow calleth for real. Good night. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a great week ahead of you. See you around in all the places. Go to sleep. Get your rest. Carol's saying she wants to try horseradish in a pot. I don't know, Carol. I don't know. There's a pink variegated lemon in the mail? What? Well, that's exciting. I haven't ordered anything. Anne's gonna have breakfast. Have fun and good night to all. Thank you. Enjoy the party tomorrow, Bowtie. Yes. Everyone is wishing luck. Here we go. Jean River Homestead. Mine was over 20 feet tall. And I had great avocados, too. Carol, I'm hitting the pillows, too. This was so fun. I did not realize it was so late. I know. 2 hours, guys. 26 watching. Hit the thumbs up. Thanks for talking about gardening with me. Appreciate it. I can't plant anything yet. We just have the indoor growing station. So, Mother Earth Garden Club, government commodities, flour, butter, stale crackers. I have no idea where these came from. I was a kid. That was the list, right? Yeah. So, like, if we go to the store and we buy butter, flour, milk, eggs, crackers now, how much is that going to run you? A drink. Tackmaster. Just a reminder to switch from top chat to live chat. Yeah, if we're missing any conversation, if you're not seeing somebody, there's a button up top because for some reason YouTube has it. I don't understand why. Serena is saying to me, are you planning to grow pepper X if given the opportunity? Jay Dixon can tell you how many Scovilles of heat units it has. No. Nope. I have to limit the variety of hot peppers in my garden because I have kids. I don't want my kids to touch the pepper and touch their skin and get burned by the oils on the pepper. So I only have low Scoville heat peppers, and I have to tell them this area is off limits. Gandalf says Vegemite. Where's Jonesy? Yeah, it's in my kitchen and it smells. I'm really definitely not trying it on camera. Miss Sharon, may your troubles be less, your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Love that. Foxed Outdoors. That's gotta be a really nice flavor aside from the usual pink or lemon to Newfound Dome Productions. Carol, that is so sad. Happened to cross the street to a Florida avocado tree that was prolific. Yeah. Okay, melted butter in a frying pan, add molasses, a little bit of water to thin it, the bread, fry it up, inky toast. Oh, okay. Silly Lily just told us how to make it. Oh, squid ink on toast. May the wind be at your back and not coming out your backside. Happy St. Patrick's Day from Carol. Fox Outdoors, a local garden center told me it can be done in my area to grow oranges, so I set out to prove them wrong, and here I am from Newfound Drum Productions. Yes, good night, Carol. Sleep well. Thanks for hanging out for so long. Cliff, same here. Newfound Drum Productions, still trying to get me some key limes for pies and such. Calamondon. Have a good night, Carol. That's what's up. Sorry. What are we sorry for? Minnesota is now where you and Mike live. Well, there's no snow right now. It got bedtime. Sam, my struggle meal is still one of my favorite packs of ramen noodles and whatever vegetable is lying around. Soup. Soup life. Yep. I'm sure many people have that same relation with ramen noodles, right? It is. It is an orange tree, a sour orange. Richard says to Jean River Homestead, no, you don't want to try Vegemite. Only Australians can eat that. Carol, yes, small sour oranges and is cold hardy compared to other citrus. Newfound Drum Productions. I have varieties you can't get here. Jay Dixon is talking about Kied Meal Fielt. Gaelic for 100,000 welcomes. Really glad to see you. South Florida sunshine. Lemons also have major thorns. What? No way. Thanks. Fox at Outdoors. Even the little sproutlings have what? Thorns in my house? What? Jean River Homestead. A friend of mine in LA's California has an avocado tree that's 60 feet tall and is over 60 years old. CR can't stop snacking now again. Mother Earth Garden Club. Do not grind horseradish in the house. No. No, no, no. Ah, Sam, I grew horseradish in container and it was small and stunted roots didn't seem to like it, but it's already come back this year and I thought I got all the rhizome. I know it's going to be there forever. It's forever. Gandalf, it's after midnight here, so happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Yes. Get your green on. Mr. Noodles for life, says Tech Master. Good night, all. Silly Lily, get your rest. J. Dixon, yes, many citrus trees, including lemons, limes, and fruits, I love grapefruit, can have thorns. Wow, especially on young or vigorous growth, though not all varieties are thorny. Bottom of the chat. Good night, everyone. Tackmaster. We did so good. I'm going to have to call it. Chat, what is this called? Poll, I mean. End the poll. The root vegetables took the win. For which crop do you want to grow in a square foot garden? It was 36%. Then it was the tomatoes, peppers. Then it was your herbs. And then no one wants to eat the leafy greens. Miss Sharon says, thank you all for joining the chat. It was great. Jay Dixon, nighty night all. Again, we are going to have a fantastic conversation coming up along the lines of what we've talked about in the past here. Friday, we talked about crops to grow to save on your grocery bill. Saturday, Diva in the Dirt talked about what were your struggle meals back then? What are they now? What are we going to do going forward? Next, here at Shawnee Grows, 25 survival crops that fed families during the Depression. We're going to look at them. They're high yielding. They kept you fed. The names are bizarre. We're going to look at pictures of them. We're going to look at recipes and how do you eat the thing. We're going to go shopping. Can we buy these things today in 2025? That's what I want to talk about next. Say your goodbyes. Last comments to make for me here. Adam says, glasses and watch are off. Coffee is prepped. This live is so exciting. I can't turn it off. Good night, Mother Earth Garden Club. Good night, all. Get your last little leprechaun sayings out. I can read mine here for you. CR says, clearly we rooted for the root vegetables. Yes. Gandalf says, good night, everyone. CR says, see you later. Ha ha, he, you'll never catch me. Tricky, tricky, you tried to be. I left a gift of gold for you for your efforts in trying to catch me, is the note that we're leaving from the leprechaun tomorrow. Richard, thank you. All sunrise is beautiful here. Good night or good morning. Face fuchsia flower shape. Oh, it shows it over on YouTube, the actual flower, but in StreamYard it told me the words. That was funny. Sam says, have a great rest, everyone. Jean River Homestead. I have tons of cilantro coming up everywhere. I planted it once and didn't have to plant it again. Same thing for me with parsley. And I have to get it established at the offsite garden because it's here at the rental. That's awesome. CR says, take care. Jay, Irish, I was back in bed. Oh my goodness. Don't forget to check the description if you're still here in the replay. As Radio Jonesy, Radio J Talk would say, hashtag closing crew. Thank you all for sticking to the end to see what we get into here at Shawnee Grows. I'm going to shut her down though. So let's get to the button. We got to grow every day in every way. We got to learn as we grow. I will see you all next time.